Welcome back, everybody. Apologies for the long delay, but when you are doing a Swiss format, you got to get the seeding right, and we finally have the seeding right. So we're happy to announce to you that you are going to get to watch Maryville versus Bay State going head-to-head in the second game of our Swiss format here on day number one. Maryville coming off a very, very solid win, and I believe just about 20 minutes or so, if I'm not mistaken, against Supernova, Dark Matter, Kenobi, and Bay State, a pretty solid win as well over Goose Gaming.
I mean, this is going to be, like, the wait will be worth it, trust me, for everyone watching. The wait's going to be worth it for this one between Maryville and Bay State Maroon, because this is the 8th seed versus the 9th seed, so very, very close in terms of that power level and when it comes to the seeding, but Collegiate, LOL has been getting a lot of traction lately, and especially with Niles coming back in at Maryville, king of the top lane, I've heard him be called, king of Gangplank. I think Smacks on the draw show said he was Captain America, so all of the monikers that Niles has brings him back to Maryville against Bay State here in our Proving Grounds.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not unfounded, right? We've seen Niles in the LCS, we've seen him at Academy, we now see him in Maryville. He's dominated pretty much everywhere he's gone. Kenobi, maybe some rough times on Gold Guardians in the LCS, but that's the LCS, right? That is how high this player has been, and there is not a bad thing I have ever heard anyone say about him in the top lane. He is a leader, he is a team player, he has so much mechanical skill, and a lot has also been said about Bej for Bay State. He is one of their two big players that was pitched to me as kind of the leaders on the squad, kind of the carry potential. But when you are going up against someone like Niles, this Titan, retired or not from pursuing competitive play, it is a very, very tall task.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good players, to be like completely honest with everyone. There's a lot of good players, like Serenox is also in that mid lane. Shady, from what I've heard, is a very, very strong support. I remember hearing, I think it was on PG Pod, that like if Shady and Niles are on Maryville, they have a chance to win no matter where they are. They're just a threat. So I think going forward with this matchup in particular, a lot of high-hitting, dynamic players that we could see be those carry potential players, but because it's Maryville and because Niles is back, we kind of have to focus on that side of the map a little bit between him and Beige.
Yeah, it's going to require quite a bit from Bay State. And of course, Bay State may be a little more unknown considering that Maryville played in the Proving Ground circuit last season. So for those who haven't watched Collegiate, do be aware this is a very, very strong team. They were rated this high for a reason. Beige and Serenok are going to be the carry players, but everyone on this roster super highly rated on the ladder. They have played against people like Maryville. We just know that Maryville formula a lot more in Proving Grounds because of the visibility. And with Niles in the top lane, the formula should be pretty similar, right? Even last year, it is a lot about that top lane, about getting pressure in top lane. You're going to see Shady roaming all over the map to get his team ahead, be in the right places, and that is a formula that they have used time and time again for a ton of success.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed about Shady, is that Shady kind of has like this, like, if I can like equate it to like an LCS player, it's like Core JJ, right? Core JJ is just like, see you later bot lane, I'm leaving you for like 10 minutes, like you're not going to see me for a while, just play safe and farm up, and Shady will go around the map, impact those other lanes with his roaming, and I think that he plays like, the Nautilus, all of these engage supports that definitely help with that type of play style, and, I think Evan RL also has a decent hero pool to like kind of fit that, where it's like Ezreal, Caitlyn, things that can farm relatively safely by themselves. So I think that's definitely what we'll see from the Maryville side. And I think if you're on Bay State, like you have to ban GP, right? Like you can't let GP go through this draft because first it's Niles. GP's already busted, but then you have Niles on the other side. So Niles is like the king of gameplay. You cannot let him have Niles. So that's definitely a ban that I would be expecting to be targeted, and I would probably potentially expect Bay State to pinch the hero pool a little bit on that top side.
Yeah, the interesting question, and I will ask production, what side they're on? Because if you do have Maryville on red side, you could try to take that GP if Beige is confident in it, right? But like you said, if you and Maryville is blue, I haven't heard that Maryville's blue side, so okay, you got to ban it. You got to ban it.
Not,
straight
there's
up.
No way.
You can't let Niles have that champion.
If you let Niles have that GP, I mean, oh boy, you are putting yourself at a slight bit of a handicap here, but we will be going over to the draft relatively soon here, DJ, and I cannot wait for this matchup between both of these teams. I mean, it's going to be incredibly exciting as we see already the bans coming out. Maryville have banned the Xerath. like the Xerath and Zoe, I believe are specifically Serenox bans. Like those are for Serenox in particular.
Yep, they are going to be for Serenox. I like the Akshan ban, actually. Niles just actually played this in the first game to great success. And of course, if you've been watching Lorlo's streams, this is a very strong, aggressive pick in the top lane. It can get a ton of control. It has kill pressure. I like taking that out of Niles' hands. And now they're going to leave it up. Are they actually going to leave it up?
No shot.
Okay, 15 seconds. 15 seconds. We're going a little early here. They're hovering a victor.
No, there's no way they don't let. There's no way.
Away from Get Back.
DJ, there's no way.
Get Back just had 18 kills on a Victor. Okay, they're banning it away.
Well,
they banned away Get Back's Victor. He just had 18 kills on Victor. I think he went 18-0-5 in their last game against Supernova Dark Matter. And now Maryville on the clock. 17 seconds. That Gangplank is available for Niles. Let's see if they go for it.
I am shocked that the GP has gone through. And I'm actually shocked that like Niles hasn't just like instantly locked it. Okay, so it's actually going to be the Talon, which I assume is going to be in the jungle. So they're giving Kind Jungle kind of a assassin type of jungler, does have that carry potential. And now this is where I think you definitely can go for a Lee Sin. It's a fine matchup. I think Lee Sin struggles a tiny bit against assassins, but it's not like a big deal. Lee Sin's just a competent pick overall for that jungle. And then now I wonder, does Bay State opt for the Gangplank themselves to like make sure that like Maryville can't take it away?
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. We got a couple more seconds remaining in this pick for Bay State. They are going to hover a Jinx at the moment. We saw how powerful that was in our last game with Scooped, and it will be locked in. Of course, not a lot of support bans just yet, so that Lulu could still be available. A lot of options to partner with Sophis Sage for Brain. But now it's back over to Maryville. They see the jungler. They see the 80 carry. Where are they going to head? It's right over to the Caitlyn.
Lux, I think, is a potential option for this as well. We know Lux, Caitlyn, if you want to get like heavy shove in that bot lane, that's definitely an option. You can, combo it along with the Threshold.
There it is.
And it is going to be the Lux. So bot lane is a very hard pushing bot lane right now for Maryville University. Now, the Karma is going to be on the other side, so you do match a little bit with like range versus range, but still, like, this is going to be I think the push probably favors Maryville more so than it does for Bay State here. As we're going back into our bans, TF going to be taken off the board
here. TF going to be the first takeaway, and I do like that ban if you want to pushing bottom lane or try to contest. But I think one thing we have to mention is this is Caitlyn Lux, right? And Caitlyn Lux is a lane that has a lot of kill pressure. It has a lot of pushing pressure. It's a lane that needs some attention, right? Caitlyn does not operate that well on her own in a vacuum without some jungle attention or team attention, which is a very different formula than the one we were just talking about for Maryville. Mm-hmm. They are putting eggs into the basket of Evan RL. They're putting it into Shady, much kind of away from his roaming style. This is much more of an at-home style. It's not that you can't make plays on Lux. It's that it's a little bit harder, and you typically want to stay in lane for longer.
Yeah, it's not really as on demand as like something like, if you go with like Nautilus or something like that, where it's just like you go to another lane and it's very easy. Like you can theoretically roam as Jinx, or not as Jinx, as Lux, but it's like still pretty hard to do. As we see the bans wrap up here, very heavily top-sided with a Malphite ban, a Camille ban, and a Jace ban. So now it's going to be up to Bay State to figure out what they want in terms of their mid lane or in terms of their top lane here. And it looks like it's going to be the Mundo coming out from Bay State. That's going to be beige, and they're offering the ability. Okay, no, okay, so it's Renekton. This feels very scary, especially now that we might have the Gangplank. Or the Ornn. I think you might need a tank right here. That would be something that I would definitely agree with here. If you get a tank here, you need something for Caitlyn to like kind of stand behind, to just stand there and deliver.
Yeah, so we are going to see it, right? We talked about Akshan was the pick in game number 1. It was very much a game about Niles and Get Back. Get Back still looking for that mid laner. He could play Talon, but he hasn't seen his mid lane counter, so I would imagine he's going to pick something safe for maybe a Syndra, right? Maybe whatever's left up. The Victor already gone there. It's that Syndra hover, and it will be locked in, so that's safe. Team fighting mid laner, and this is a matchup we just saw on the... Okay, never mind. They're going to bait me. Are they going to go with the classic Syndra LeBlanc? Malzahar hover. They're just piling through every mid lane champion they can. Malzahar. Come on, spin that roulette wheel. What are we going to get, Bay State? Don't tell me. Okay, they spun the roulette wheel to give us a classic matchup. They did. 5 seconds. 4.
It's gotta be
3. It's gotta be. Okay, classic.
So a skill matchup. A
Tale as old
classic
as
skill
time.
matchup in that mid lane.
Yep.
Not really, like, it doesn't really favor one side or the other, but, like, as we kind of look at the draft in its entirety right here, there is a lot of, I think, ability for Maryville University to have a nice push in that bot lane, right? That's really what they're going to be playing for here. Top lane's going to be pretty isolated. I don't expect really a lot to come out from that besides just like farm, especially because it's Ornn, and Ornn isn't really going to want to opt into any fights early, at least against Renekton, because Renekton's like the early, you know, lane king where it's like you E in, you W, you Q, you E out, and 3/4 of their health are gone. But against Ornn, it's going to be a little bit harder to do that. So I think that this is a very safe kind of composition from Maryville University. They do have the talent, which is pretty aggro, but like everything else feels like they're kind of just like standing back, waiting for Bay State to come to them.
Yeah, well, what I'm very happy from this Maryville draft is what I was talking about earlier, right? It's a different formula. We are very used to seeing Maryville play their same style to get their successes, to get their wins. And here we are early in the season with Niles as your top laner, right? Coming out of, well, going into retirement, but playing for Maryville, just such a talented player. And they're going to say, hey, we got him a game in game number 1. Let's work on something else in game number 2 and see how we can play through our bottom lane, through Evan and Shady, give them the keys to the kingdom, the reins of the horses, so to speak. And let's see what we can do in a very different format and a very different style.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely for Niles as kind of this idea of like the Gangplank King. We didn't see Gangplank at all in this, which was kind of interesting, but like he does have an Ornn that's like relatively good as well. So like it's not like, you know, Niles is just this like Gangplank master only. Like there are other things in his toolkit. The Ornn is definitely one of them. I really do like the pick because it's going to be something really nice for the rest of Maryville to play around, right? You have this like beefy frontliner, and if you look at, you know, the other side for Bay State, they don't really have that as much. They're going to be kind of just like they need to burst people quickly, get Jinx that reset, and once that happens, then they can really just get the fight going. Longer, elongated fights, if you just let Caitlyn sit in the backline and continuously, you know, farm up damage, it's going to be scary for Bay State to win that. So they have to play a little bit more quick and high tempo, I think, if you're on Bay State's side.
So Bay State very much more in the no ace basket this time around?
Yeah, I would say so. That's kind of how I would look at it.
So a little bit of a timer then on Bay State. If they do have the timer, we got to be looking, of course, at the jungler to make some of these plays. Dragon Minkimp, he's on the Dragon Kick Master right here in Lee Sin. Where should he, along with Serenok or wherever they can get pressure, where should they be looking to make some of these early game plays that they will need to topple this Maryville University roster?
I think you could definitely work towards the bot side, and I feel like that's kind of how it's going to evolve mostly, is that like bot side's going to need like help, especially against the Caitlyn. If it's going to be pushing in as hard as it is with the Caitlyn Lux, you definitely have opportunities to go bot side depending on how Lee Sin wants to path. So I think definitely going bot and helping out this Jinx Karma lane would definitely be something that I would be looking out to do, because I think in the earlier games or in the earlier parts of this this game, I think that you can have a lot more value with a Lee Sin going bot than like if Talon were to. Because Talon likes to, you know, wait until you get 6 and then just like start, you know, killing ADCs and stuff like that.
So bot lane to call here. You're not going to be looking at that Renekton for the classic 3-wave crash into diving in Ornn?
No. Renekton is a champ that like I you know, I hear a lot about in terms of just like there's a lot of controversy around Renekton, and if they want to like get the Renekton ahead, that's definitely fine. The problem is that Renekton can't really use that lead to his advantage outside of lane anymore because it doesn't have TP, right? If you were going to go like early game, like, you know, take down this Ornn, like then Renekton just goes back to lane. It's very hard for him to go press that advantage somewhere else. So I think that I would prefer the Lee Sin to kind of leave that Renekton alone a little bit and then move to other parts of the map like the Jinx. If you like get Jinx ahead, like that I think would be better than getting something like the Renekton ahead.
Similar to Scooped in game number 1 for No Team.
Very
Bottom
similar.
lane sounds like it's going to be the answer for both of these teams this time around. And maybe kind of the flavor of the month, the theme of the new season with those teleport changes. Bottom lanes can get a lot more freedom, and we're seeing it here on day number 1. With that, we'll be throwing it to a break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes after spectator delay with our second game of the day between Maryville University and Bay State Maroon with a 2-0 record on the line. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you once again for your patience. We are finally into game 2 of the day. We got Maryville University loading in on the blue side, Bay State loading in on the red side as these two teams battle it out for a 2-0 record and 10 qualifying points towards that Proving Grounds tournament at the end of the season.
Yeah, and it's also for kind of this, I would say, a little bit of bragging rights, I would say, for both of these teams with the collegiate battle, you know, going on between both of them, Maryville and Bay State. Definitely want to be higher up on that Kings of Collegiate totem pole, as we're going to be seeing kind of standard for everyone in terms of what they're bringing to the table with runes. The interesting thing would see is Beige is going to be on the Conqueror with the Renekton, which tells me even more so that like we're not going to see too much happening in that top side. It feels a little bit more team fighty for that Renekton. You sometimes do see the PTI. I know it's fallen off a little bit, but it still is a viable option, as we're going to be seeing in terms of where the junglers are starting. Lee Sin going to be on that red side. And actually, Town's going to be on the blue, but the Renekton's moving over. Trying to, you know, be a bit froggy, it seems like, at the start.
Nothing doing there in the early game. A little bit of posturing, but nobody really goes too deep, and it will just be some normal clears. Take a look at where the wards were placed. We got one for Bay State in that river, hoping to catch Kind Jungle, potentially going into the enemy part of the rift, and are a couple wards down in that bot lane brush as well, where, as you mentioned, Kenobi, this seems to be the focus for both of the squads.
Yeah, and with where Lee Sin is pathing right now, there is potential if they do push this really hard. Lee Sin could come around here, but I think Talon has picked a good idea for Kind Jungle, where to just follow around. So if there is a scrap that happens in this bot lane, Kind Jungle will be along for that ride. As the root comes out already. Are there traps available for Evan RL?
Going really low, and there it is. It's just first blood for Evan RL. The combo goes absolutely perfectly, and Maryville's decision to invest in their bottom lane looks to be paying off already.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of talked about it really perfectly at the start here, DJ, where it was, you know, they're putting a lot of eggs into the Evan RL basket, and it works perfectly at the start right here. First blood for that Caitlyn. I mean, they're going to continuously just start moving this one forward here. Lee Sin is around, so they have to be careful. They don't want to greed this out.
Kim, he's coming in. They're going to spot him now on that ward. They're baiting. Kind Jungle's here, but he's level 3 already. Flash in from Brain. Will not connect this. Shady flashed away. Going to get the heal as well. And now Dragon Minkim has to flash away as he sees Kind Jungle come out of the fog of war. It will be both junglers just retreating with a little bit of help from Minkim to reset the lane.
I mean, 2 flashes for 1. Not a terrible trade for Maryville at all. So they get the flash out of the Karma and out of the Lee Sin. So Lee Sin's gank potential little bit hindered slightly as we're going to be moving forward throughout this game. And we look in pickaxe buy for the Caitlyn in that bot side, so very potent in terms of what they're going to be dishing out damage. If, you know, a root lands from that Lux, you can basically consider that person in that bot lane pretty much dead unless they have a healer to flash.
Yeah, the combo is just so devastating when it does land. Kenobi and Evan and Shady seem to know what they're doing. They seem to practice this one. It's going to be a combo we see quite a bit throughout this early portion of the season, if Demacia Cup was any indication. So very nice to see that Maryville is already confident to bust it out.
Yeah, and I really love, you know, I'm an ADC player by trade myself, and I love when I just get a Lux who just hits those binds, and I'm just like, yes, trap right under it, easy kills that come out, and you can just combo some 100 to 0 really easily. As, oh, Kind Jungle going to be opting in to try and go for some steals here of the camp. Gets one, actually gets the big Krug, and will escape like a smooth criminal. Okay!
Minkim going in. Kind Jungle just gonna, okay, yep, there's Talon. There are multiple walls there, there's multiple jumps, and Kind Jungle just gonna yeet on out.
Kind of surprised that he went for that, but, you know, hey, maybe there wasn't a jump there, and you got to go for those if you are the jungler for Bay State here. Dragon Minkim, as I think it's going to reset a little bit as we're kind of taking a nice zoom out of what we're seeing between all of these teams so far. The push still happening very heavily in that bot lane because it's almost impossible, I think, for Bay State, unless some help is there, for them to even try and contest against this bot lane of Maryville.
Right now with that item advantage, a little bit tricky in the bottom lane, but everywhere else we're pretty calm as well. Bish gets a nice trade onto Niles, but thus far hasn't really been able to impose himself against this tank mage assassin wizard as Shady. One of the patented roams, this time just on a Lux. Will he find a timer? Dragon Minkim's here. He's actually going to see Shady throw out the Sonic Wave, but not going to connect, and looks like everything will just go back to peace.
Yeah, and the waves are actually pushing in. I think Syndra has a pretty decent push right now. He's low on the mana, so won't be able to continuously push this. We'll probably go for a reset here. I think they might have enough in terms of their gold to buy a Lost Chapter and then come back and push out those waves so that they can eventually get this dragon, because they have that push in the bot lane as well.
Returning to the lane is Evan RL, going to start working on that push because see Dragon Min Kim's hanging around the Drake at the moment, trying to see if he's got an opportunity. Walking over is Get Back. He does have this control ward. Min Kim and Get Back in a little bit of a dance. Neither one willing to go yet. Keep in mind that Get Back is level 6.
Talon's
He
here.
does have that unleashed power. As Min Kim, he's trying to take these chickens away. He's going to get spotted. This is real trouble for Min Kim. Already going to get slowed. He will dodge out on the Scatter of the Weak, but he doesn't have the dash anymore. There's the flash in, and there's the unleashed power. Min Kim goes down. Now Serenok tries to trade back, but it's a 2v1. He's going to get his clone popped. Going to get dashed on. One more Q would do it. The E not going to come out from Kind Jungle. It's just the 1-0, but still a win for Maryville.
Very nicely played from the mid laner and the jungler. The jungle mid synergy working perfectly there for Maryville, as looks like Brain is coming around to try and clear some wardage here, but that's already 2 kills for Maryville right now. Here comes Syndra back with that Lost Chapter, and I think Drake is going to be the next option on the table for both of these teams. Kind Jungle, after this reset, most likely going to go back, get some more items, and then head towards that Drake to try and secure that mountain.
See, right now, Brain is on it, trying to get some vision down. They know that is still the target. Using that tempo they've earned from a little bit of the wave resetting, from the fact the junglers were on the other side of the map in mid lane, but looks like it's just going to be even again, and Evan RL continues to push down, continues to impose himself on this lane with Sopa Sage. Sopa's going to get rooted up. There's the trap out, the Q in. Sopa's going very low. He has to flash away. The flash into the traps from Evan RL. Not the best flash of his career. Will keep Sopa Sage alive.
And one of the interesting things that I neglected to mention at the start of this in terms of talking about rooms is that actually it's fleet footwork for the Jinx, where we see a lot of lethal tempo, but this feels like they really want to play for lane, and unfortunately it hasn't necessarily paid too much dividends because the lane does seem still very in favor of Maryville here. Yes, if you scrap for a very long time, it definitely can help you a little bit, but if that like burst goes through, like we've seen from a Caitlyn with a trap and with a Lux binding and with everything, like if there were ults in that fight, pretty sure that would have been a dead Jinx.
Yeah, the level 6 not quite ticked by Evan due to a couple of the base timers. Sopas had that Super Mega Death Rocket, but still could not turn it around, and we'll have to head back to base. Now just arriving at the turret, things resetting, and that Drake that we've been talking about so much with so much, it's still alive. Yeah. It's still alive, Kenobi. No one has yet found the timer.
Oh, but in the mid lane, there's actually some stuff happening. It's 2v1. The LeBlanc is going to be able to survive. As now Lee Sin's going to be starting that Drake, but here comes the bot lane.
There's no flash anymore. Down goes the Q. The trap doesn't quite connect this time. Sophus takes a big headshot, and now he will go down to the follow-up. But Dragon Min Kim has already taken down the Drake now, or he hasn't taken down the Drake. Now he's working on Evan. Evan's actually going to give himself a double kill. There's a root. Can Evan actually get out of this? No, he cannot. Here's Kind Jungle. It's another root from Shady, another binding. And there are 3 members here. Dragon Min Kim almost certain to go down, but he will take Kind with him, which means that Drake is still gonna survive.
And no Drake this time, but really well played from Evan RL, knowing that he was basically dead no matter what happened, and actually he managed to secure the double kill onto that Karma and takes him down, and now this Caitlyn is very strong with those 3 kills. The shutdown did go over to the Lee Sin, so some gold in the pocket of Dragon Min Kim here, but overall, I would say a win for Maryville here. Their gold lead continues to expand. We're at the 10-minute mark with both of these teams, and I think that Maryville is in a very good position because the Caitlyn is so far ahead right here. And when you look at the rest of the map too, I mean, everyone seems to be ahead here for Maryville. You know, Niles has done a very good job just in that top lane, farming up. The Talon has been doing some really good things in the jungle, putting down a lot of pressure as we see, oh, this is not where they want to be if you're Bay State.
Another binding from Shady. He is absolutely destroying them with these bindings. I don't think he's missed. There's the long-range stun. There's the final spark, and Evan RL with the Piltover Peacemaker will snipe him out for the kill. Shady is just doing work right now with some help from his teammates.
I mean, Shady is just on another level right now with these bindings. That's going to be a Drake moved over for Maryville. They will be trading it for a Rift Herald, but you definitely take a Drake if that's the trade you want to make there. Really well played from just the entirety of the bot lane coming in from Maryville. You know, this bottom half of the map has been working out so well for them. The stuns from the Syndra, impeccable. The roots from the Lux, also impeccable. And they are rewarded with the Drake, rewarded with the big gold lead. That's starting to balloon to a scary position right here, DJ. I mean, 4K gold right now. And we're not even at the point where, the TPs come online.
Yeah, it's a pretty scarily large lead at this point in the game. We are 11 minutes in, and it is already that 3.5, nearly 4K. With turrets still on the board, this could get very, very bad if Bay State cannot find an angle to stabilize it. We'll remind you once again, like we did last game, as another binding going to land. It's a good shield from Brain to mitigate the damage. We'll remind you, Bay State is once again on a timer. Just like Noace was last game. Their team fighting's not as strong. They have this Renekton in the top lane, and they are the ones that find themselves behind.
And now I think the other thing is that we're still in a position where like the Lux and Caitlyn's can still move around the map and continue to get like more turret plates if they would like to. You know, if once they take down this bot lane turret, go mid, they have a little bit of time to do that. But Gale Force is completed and the boots for the Caitlyn, and you look at the other side, and that Jinx just has the Noon Quiver and the boots themselves. So a bit of a damage gap in the bot lane currently, as we're seeing right now, as Kind Jungle's in this top lane, seeing if they can find anything. It looks like they're going to be going for a dive, actually.
Yeah, on the bench. Nice knockup from Niles.
Nice
that
combos.
is just beautiful from Niles and Kind. You could not have played that better on this Ornn.
Textbook Ornn right there. I mean, the combo was beautiful. Kind comes in with the follow-up and the damage. Renekton can't do anything about it, as they're going to be looking, it looks like Bay State, to try and take something in the bot side for it. They're going to zone out the bot lane and try and secure some gold and some turrets. And actually, they're going to be dropping the Rift Herald.
Yeah, this is the price to pay. Another binding, though. Good shield once again will keep Sofa Stage alive. And this should not quite. One plate remaining on the bottom lane turret. It will get some gold back into Sofa's pockets, which is where they need it. And that is the price to play for the cross-map play by Niles and Kind.
And we see they're still, poking around a bit, but I mean, going up against a Caitlyn and Lux and trying to just like do anything under the tower when they can just blow up the wave in like 2 seconds is a little bit hard to do. As you can see, I mean, looking at the vision across the map here, it looks like Bay State has, put a lot of control towards that bot side, trying to, help this Jinx and Karma out a little bit, because if this lane stayed in isolation, it's going to be just Caitlyn and Lux completely dominating, as we see an engagement in the mid lane.
Nice bind. Great chain. It's an excellent combo from Dragon, Min Kim, and Saranok, and they will pick up the third kill of the game for Bay State.
Bot lane turret will be going down for Maryville here. Bay State get a nice kill in that mid lane. Going to be helping Saranox a little bit, as Sofa Sage is getting a little bit scary here, but
there's
the support's around and they have to
has to flash. Can they find him? They just need vision for the Caitlyn ultimate. Evan's still looking for it. Down autos onto Brain, but now with Saranok coming down, they're probably going to get pinged out. Can they even get out? I don't know if that's the answer. Saranok's actually intelligently looking for Kind Jungle as he walked across the ward, but the presence of the jungler will keep his bottom lane alive.
They've got both flash heal out of the Jinx, though, so that's pretty decent in terms of, that engagement. Unfortunately, they had to flash them, or actually, no. Caitlyn and Lux didn't flash at all in terms of anything, so even though they didn't get the kill, they secured the summoners, which could potentially even be a bigger deal come this next team fight, because if you step out of line, if you're Jinx at all here, and you get hit by like one Scatter of the Week or by a binding, there's no safe haven for you anymore. And we're past that 14-minute mark where now teleports start to become a thing in team fights.
Yeah, teleports will be online again. You can see that slightly different color now. It's actually a pretty nice color, I have to say. That little lighter purple to indicate, hey, you're free. You can do what you want. Now, go fly away. Go fly away, bird. Go be free. As Niles and Beish now have that available to them. Niles going to walk right past the ward. Looks like we are on Rift Herald waiting party. Kind Jungle and Shady teaming up. They know exactly where their counterparts are as they spot them out on the Krugs. Their presence along with Evan means they got to back away. That's some Krugs for Kind Jungle, and probably another turret going down in the top lane.
I mean, this is classic Caitlyn Lux right here, where you just continue moving around the map, especially this far ahead. You're just going to be an artillery cannon with the Lux and with the Caitlyn just moving around like this, as they are going to be moving through the red side jungle.
It's a lot of people grouped up. Wow, Impact gonna hold out on the Scout of the Week. Now he'll land it. That could be some trouble for the AD carry, and Sophus just goes down. All it takes is one stun. There's so much long-range damage, Kenobi.
See, I mean, without this, I mean, if Jinx had flash there, that would have been, they would have been able to survive. But with that play, the aggressive play coming from Evan RL in that bot lane, they were able to get that flash. It costs the life of the Jinx later, and that's all the turrets in the pocket of the Caitlyn here. And this will be another Drake in the pocket of Maryville as they continue to expand their gold lead. It's about 6K right now. Caster math, it's about actually 5.5.
Yeah, this has been a brilliantly executed early game, both in terms of planning and execution from all of the players. As you mentioned, they have used this Caitlyn Lux to the maximum. 4-1-2, 2-0-5. All three turrets are gone at the 16-minute mark, and now they have to navigate the mid-game portion, and I'm interested to see how they do it, because this so often is where we can see Caitlyn composition stall out just a little bit. When that power trough comes in, when the easy turrets are gone, you have to get to those tier 2s.
Yeah, and I wonder, I mean, luckily they do have a pretty big lead to play around with. I mean, Evan RL, look at the gold for him. He's completely dominating this game right now, and the bot lane has been magnificent in terms of how they've been playing. But I think if you're Maryville, I think you're fine to just continue to let this game expand a little bit. As Jinx, you don't want to be. That's
no,
just,
yeah.
No.
Okay. Shady's
so,
merciless.
We can't, we did. Don't back in the middle of the lane. That's just what I'm hearing from that. You gotta make sure now that you are extra safe if you're Sophus Sage and you're backing. But while this top tier 2 is going down, bottom tier 2 actually is getting pretty pressured out by Bay State, which is actually a pretty decent trade. I mean, there's better that than nothing, as actually Niles is going to go and try and take it away.
Yeah, Niles will take the turret, then immediately TPs down to the bottom lane tier 2 to at least make the split push not quite equal for Bay State. It's the right idea, right? If you're struggling to get control of mid, if you don't have vision in your jungle, go to the part of the map you can be on, get yourself a turret, get yourself some space to breathe. But still, when you are this far behind, it's almost never going to be an even trade.
Well, objective bounties are up, so that is one silver lining right here for Bay State, that they will be able to have that if they can, crack open that top tier 1, crack open the mid tier 1 as well. They have some ways back into this game. The issue is that their team fighting, I don't think, is as strong as the team fighting from Maryville. And I mean, then Niles is just going to be sitting in the front. If a team fight ever breaks out, Niles will be sitting in the front, use his ultimate, and Caitlyn is going to be hitting you from basically across the map. And to win this, I think if you're Bay State, you have to get onto that Caitlyn and have to get onto them very quickly at the start of the fight.
And Niles already level 12 as well. The ornaments are not far off. There is an objective bounty. A second Rift Herald does go over to Bay State. Nice use of tempos. Maryville needed to base, pick up some of those items, get some of that gold spent, so it will be a nice little boon to the pocketbooks of the Bay State College.
It feels like we're kind of just waiting for, the game is on a timer. Baron's going to be up soon. Drake is going to be up relatively soon as well. So those are going to be kind of the break points of when we get into an actual fight here. Because if this were to kind of just stall out and no fights were to happen, Lux Caitlyn just moving around the map is going to just destroy the base of Bay State Maroon. So they have to find a fight, and it's most likely going to happen at that Baron or at one of these Drakes that was coming up soon.
While though the target in the eyes of Maryville is this bottom tier 2, wave's still there, the cannon's still there, and it is going to go down, just too overwhelming. And there is Niles, of course, playing that body blocker. Serenok on the other side of the rift, going to be picking up another objective bounty, but Maryville just continues to go turret to turret on the tier 2s, and they'll get themselves another one.
Just to look back a little bit in terms of what we're getting as itemization, Caitlyn has finished their collector right now, and you look at everyone on Bay State's composition, a lot of them are squishy, pretty squishy. So collector's going to be doing a ton of damage right here and going to get an insane amount of value, as Rift Herald's going to be dropped in that top lane just to try and give some openings, I guess, on the map for Bay State here. If you can get that second tier on the top side, you open up a little bit more of this jungle area to secure some vision. So Bay State, I mean, to all their credit, with how far they've been behind, they've been, playing from behind pretty decently well, not really making any, huge mistakes. They're trying their best to come back in by splitting and putting pressure on other parts of the map where they know they can take some sort of wins away from Maryville.
They certainly have been clever with their map positionings as Dragon Min Kim walks away. To this point, Kenobi, the question for me, though, is going to be, in a minute, what are they going to do about this Drake? There is a third Drake, a soul point coming up for Maryville, and this is sort of the inevitability of trying to play on the opposite end, trying to play the turret game. Is if you're behind and the other team's got the Drakes, at some point you've got to answer them.
Yeah, it could honestly be where the game ends. To if the fight goes the way of Maryville really hard, I think Maryville should probably just have a very easy time walking to win this game. But if Bay State can, make something happen, get onto the Caitlyn, potentially look for Beige to go on a flank on Renekton and just secure a kill that way, there is a chance, if this fight goes in Bay State's favor, that they can secure themselves, stabilize, move towards the Baron, and get back into this game somehow. But Beige needs to not die here. That would be disastrous.
He rooted up. Shady again has set up so much, and he can't get behind Brain. It will be the snipe from Evan that secures the kill and secures Soul Point.
I mean, we've been waiting for this fight for so long, and it's just not going to happen because the Renekton just gets caught out, and really well played from the entirety of Maryville to secure that kill. Another root from Shady, who we talked about it before, DJ, where we're just like, oh, he likes this high roaming style. He can just play for lane too. He's been dominating this lane right now with Evan RL, and it's just been a complete and utter annihilation in that bot side, and it's paying dividends for Maryville with their gold lead, with the just amount of control they have on this map. It's just a very scary time if you're a Bay State fan.
Yeah, I had concerns about Shady's ability to impact the map like he normally does on this pick and really spread his influence, and my fears were very unfounded in this game thus far. Meanwhile, Kind Jungle trying to get on Serenok. Nice fancy feat on the distortion will get Serenok away to safety, and Kind Jungle just has to walk over towards the Baron, see if he can clear it some vision.
Broke some cancels right there. Actually, Kind Jungle wants more. Uses the ultimate.
Oh, that's a clone. Okay, two ultimates now for Serenok. Get back a little too overeager. Shady, though. Oh my god, again, this bottom lane. Just the long-range snipes, half the map away, and a member's already down. This time it is Brain. Nice knockup from Niles into another binding from Shady. This man can't miss at all this game. Can Min Kim even stay alive? Yes, he can, just barely. They will walk away. All 5 members still standing for Maryville.
Bay State are going to have nightmares about Shady and this Lux. It's just every single time that he throws out a Q and throws out a binding, it's hitting someone, and they're dying, getting half health with the final spark as well. It's just been the bot lane show for Maryville, and while Beige is going to try and take something away, get an objective bounty, that should be a pretty easy Baron here for Maryville. I mean, Dragon Min Kim is around and is in a potential.
Oh, they're playing Gatekeeper. Out goes the ultimate. Down goes Min Kim, and now there's no way to take the Baron. They have to win the fight. Here comes the rocket. It's going to go wide, and it will be slain by Kind Jungle. He gets the smite down, and now it's time for the cleanup. Maryville just absolutely shredding through the Bay State composition. It is 4 members down. Only Sophist remains, and Maryville is headed to their second win of Proving Grounds.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how this was on a clock a little bit. The clock is struck midnight already for Maryville. I mean, they are completely in a dominant position right here. They have the Baron to work with. The gold lead is at 10k, 17-3 kills. And it has just been complete and utter annihilation from this Maryville side. They will most likely get the soul as well coming off the back of this. And right now for them, it's all about just crossing those T's, dotting their I's, making sure that they don't, get out of position to where Renekton can flank them, or they get caught out by some sort of CC, and the fight completely ends. So they just have to play extremely carefully here.
Hunting once again, not quite going to find the ward. It's just placed over the wall. We'll find the one in mid lane as the push comes through. You can see Min Kim is looking for a flank, is looking for a heroic kick. Can he find it? He has the position. I don't think Maryville knows he's here. It's going to be about the reaction. In goes Serenok. Is that the call? Not yet. Min Kim still holding his position as another wave comes in.
He's on a ward now.
Now he's on a ward. They've spotted him. Here he comes. It's too late. He's going to get knocked up. He's going to get rooted up. He's going to get destroyed by another headshot. Niles immediately going to pop call. The Forge God onto 2. In goes Kind Jungle to clean up Brain. And the base is going to be wide open.
And that should be that. I mean, if they want, they can take this. Another nice knock-up from Niles, who is getting a little bit low here under this turret. Beige goes in and gets taken out very quickly. It's
an absolute destruction from Get Back. He finds Sophist with the Scatter of the Week, with the Unleashed Power, and it's all but over for Bay State. Just going to try to get any kill he can. Will Serenok, but Niles is not to be denied, is not to be taken down. And with 5 members strong, with Baron empowered minions, Maryville University going to move themselves to a confident and clean 2-0 on day 1 of the first circuit of Proving Grounds.
Hey, so maybe we should ban Lux against Maryville. That might be something that we have to start doing, because MVP for me is gotta be Shady. I mean, I would love to see like the percentile on how much he hit his binds, because it felt like literally every single time there was a binding that came out. I mean, even from like the first kill, it was level 2 binding into trap into Katie, and then the Kate gets the first blood. And from then on, it just felt like it continuously just fell apart for Bay State, because these bindings every single time came in so clutch for Shady. And my hats off are off to him, because I think that we talked about a little bit how he's like this very roaming style. He played for lane, and he played for lane extremely well, and they were able to just move that Kate Lux all across the map with the rest of the team, break the base of Bay State, and that was going to be a 2-0 now for Maryville. Looking pretty good, I would say, in the second matchup.
Yeah, as clean as you like, and it's thrilling for me because now they've, on day 1 alone, they've already shown 2 completely different looks. Niles on a carry, on Akshan in the top lane. We play for top, we win the game. Now Evan RL gets the carry in the bottom lane with Shady, and he and Shady carry the game. Yep. So now what do you do in draft, right? You can't just ban out Niles, champ, if Evan and Shady can carry like this. It's a terrifying prospect for the other teams, and a brilliant problem, or I guess a nicety to have if you are the coaching staff and the players on Maryville. But a great day for them, and I'm sure that Bay State, like you said, in-game are going to be having some high-pitched giggles in their nightmares tonight.
That voice line always just freaks me out. I can't stand it. I just have to mute my game usually when I hear the Lux voice line like that to laugh. But I mean, for Bay State, I mean, they had some decent moments. It just felt like, unfortunately, the life was like being slowly drained out of them when it just came to like how aggressive and how oppressive this Kate Lux became. There were some times where they had some good ideas with engagements, but again, like with the Renekton, can't really do too much in terms of those team fights. And it just, you have to win a little bit on that early end, and they didn't do that. The timer ran out very quickly for Bay State.
Unfortunately did, but hopefully they can take a deep breath, not have too many of those rainbow nightmares tonight, and come back stronger tomorrow. They will be 1-1, looking for other 1-1 teams after our second matchup in this Swiss format. Again, 2-0 will be Maryville moving on to their next game, but that'll wrap it up for us here tonight. We will be back tomorrow. Before we head on out, do want to shout out our sponsors one more time. We'll throw them up here on the screen for you. Atlantic, Tipalti, and Skulls are the 3 members behind us here at Unified, just as you all are at our Unified core, to bring you all of these incredible players, incredible games of the Proving Grounds circuit in 2022. But once again, with that will be all from us. Want to thank, of course, our producer Tone in the background, our observer First Night of Me, and my partner here tonight, Kenobi. We will be back tomorrow on the Unified live stream, or the Unified 2 stream, for 3 games between the 2 of us. So do be sure to tune into that. But in the meantime, make sure you go check out one of the streams. You can check Lena Shim perchance on Twitter to find those stream links, or you can head on over to Unified Live, who are still in the process of their second game. There's plenty more Proving Grounds action for you. But with that, we hope you all have enjoyed the games. We hope you all have enjoyed the production, and we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night.